Hi, everybody. Welcome again to Music is Medicine Monday. My name is Amy, and I'm here every week talking about voice and communication and expression and sharing some music with you. This week I'm going to change it up a little bit, and I'm actually going to start with the music, and then when I'm done playing, a mantra called Lokah Samastah Sukhino Bhavantu, which means may all beings in all of the world be happy and free. When I'm done that, then I'm going to talk a little bit about this week's theme and my blog, which is about drawing a bigger circle and ways that we can avoid creating division and enhance creating more connection with our relationships and in society. So without too much chit-chat, I'm going to get right into the song. kind of weird to hold a microphone, but everything's kind of tied into that. So I'll hold the microphone while I talk today. Thank you for coming and for listening and for hanging out with me today and for sharing in some music. If you are just joining, I just spent a good period of time playing music and now want to talk a little bit about the theme this week and kind of what's going on in the world. As I'm sure most of you are familiar, there was a big election in the States, and currently it has been declared that Joe Biden has won, as well as all of the legal battles, etc., with the Republican Party and with Trump. And what I really wanted to talk about today is drawing a bigger circle. And how do we include those that we disagree with? How do we mend the relationships that have become divided, whether it's personal relationships or those societal relationships? And how can our communication actually build bridges instead of kind of falling apart? And this topic is really important to me. It's kind of the fundamental reason I do the work that I do, because I really believe in communication when we have humility and self-awareness and a willingness to learn and a willingness to grow, that we can build incredible bridges. And I think personally, whether or not you agree with me, that right now we have that opportunity. I know I'm in Canada, and so the political system is different, but these divisive tendencies are happening everywhere, and they happen in ourselves, and they happen in our lives. And so it doesn't necessarily have to be some big, grandiose offering, but those small things that we do in our day-to-day life that create more sense of connection than a sense of division. Yeah? And so in the blog, I outline, I think it's 8 or 9, different kind of ways where we create divisiveness and what we can do instead. And I thought maybe I would talk a little bit today about some of the big ones that come up for me, or the ones that I think are interesting. Another aspect of my work that I include a lot in voice and communication is looking at bias. And bias is going to be a big indicator of how we communicate with people, right? So one of the big challenges is assuming. When we can stop assuming what somebody thinks or feels or says and start listening and trying to uncover what they actually want to say, yeah? Assumption can happen in so many ways. We can assume that because somebody believes A, then they must also believe B. And so before they even speak, we already have our idea of what we're going to say to them. Right? We can assume in subtle conversation in the sense of already preparing our argument before we're even listening to what they're saying. Yeah? And so when we bring in more listening, it's simple things. It's like paraphrasing and active listening. Or when we think we have something and maybe we get defensive, like, you think this, to stop and go, this is how I'm taking that. Is that what you mean? And actually asking for clarification. Yeah? Another one I talk about in my blog is exaggeration. And exaggeration I find happens so many ways. Us versus them is very much exaggeration. Always, never. Those words tend to imply exaggeration. And what I'm also finding in arguments is often we'll use what's called a straw man argument. So I will argue against what I'm going to say their argument is, which is pretty weak, instead of trying to uncover the depth and the nuances of the argument that exists. Yeah? And what happens is as soon as I do that, they're probably going to do the same thing back, or vice versa. It perpetuates it. So if I put you into black and white and very, this is what it is, then it's going to happen back. And instead of growing, we become more polarized in those exaggerations. But what's really beautiful is that when we connect and we're willing to see the complexity of an issue, we're willing to see its nuances, there's a lot of space for growth and a lot of space for understanding. And so I'm sure as I say this, you can see how this might apply in the political field. But let's even take it back into like a relationship. You never listen to me. You never listen. That's going to cause defensiveness on the other side. However, when it's more specific, hey babe, when you came home today after work and I was talking to you, I didn't feel like you were listening. It didn't seem like you were listening. What was going on? You know, and then we might find out there's just more to the story. Oh, I'm sorry, I came home and I'd had a bad day, and honestly, it was just really in my head. It wasn't ever about listening to me. It was a whole other thing. Yeah? I'm just going to pull out the ones that I can think of off my head. One of them, which I think is really important, and I remember first really having this hit me by Ali Bogart. She said it in one of her classes. Like, we can be a person who tears things down, or we can be someone who builds them up. And so I might go into an interaction with the intention to breaking that person down, telling them everything they did wrong, really proving how I'm right. Or I can go into an interaction and go, wow, I really hope that we can find mutual respect and understanding and start to build a bridge of understanding. And that is going to completely change not only how I treat that other person, but what's possible. That's another challenge in divisive communication, is often when we become maybe the victim or the martyr, oh, I always have to take care of them, or they always take advantage of me, those type of things. What happens is we kind of put like the blame or the onus on something outside of ourselves. And when we can come to terms with what our own feelings are and how our own behaviors or thoughts might be creating a self-fulfilling prophecy. You know, I think that they never listen to me, so I'm cold and I'm distant, or I'm bitchy, or I'm totally needy, which is going to perpetuate what I think, when I can start to actually draw into what's mine. What is mine? How am I showing up? What am I doing that might be contributing to this dissonance? Then my ability to communicate, it grows, as does my ability to learn and grow and listen. Yeah? So I could go on for probably an hour and talk about this, but I would love, if you're looking for maybe how you might be creating divisiveness in communication, and please know as I say that, I have such respect for that work. We all do it. We all create divisiveness in communication at times. We all have biases. And so when we have the self-awareness to start seeing them, it means that we can start bringing in a new behavior, right? It's shining a light on the shadow and understanding what's there so that we can bring forward what's possible, yeah? And also in the blog, not only the ways that we might create a divisive communication, but what we can do to shift that. And I want to close with one more, because I think this is, to me personally, probably one of the hardest ones, is to stop idealizing and start accepting. And so anytime there is an expectation of how it should be, how it should go, what it should like, how they should act, how they should treat me, how I should be able to treat them, all of that actually creates distance between what is happening and myself. So when I can accept, maybe, you know, I have done everything that I think I could do in the best possible way, and I still can't mend that bridge. Then maybe it's accepting that and accepting the grief or accepting the pain. Or maybe I really want this person to behave in a different way, to act a different way, to treat me a different way. But they don't. No matter how clear I am, to take away the idea of changing that and just accepting that that is that person, how they are. And maybe choosing from there to see how they maybe offer love or how they offer connection. But acceptance is really, it's such a simple word, but it's such a deep concept. Because acceptance can even be accepting that I feel an agenda and I want that and I don't like it. Or I feel, what's that? That feeling that's really frustrating, sorry. Desperate. I feel desperate. Even accepting that sense of desperation and giving space and coming back into myself, locating that sense of steadiness. And with practice and with time, allowing communication to unravel itself. Just thoughts. Thank you again so much for hanging out, for listening, and I hope you enjoyed the song. If you're curious about the work that I do, the coaching that I do, it's quite powerful if you want to become more effective in your communication. It really is. I've been really blessed to watch a number of people transform in ways that it still surprises me. And in that way of doing it, I work cognitively and with discernment, but I also work a lot with somatic awareness, because understanding sensation and embodiment of voice can be really powerful for changing the way we communicate. And of course, for the more spiritually inclined or vocally singing inclined, I have a lot of techniques around voice, toning, prayer, etc., that I also use for some clients to really stabilize the nervous system and to create an inner love and acceptance for transformation. Anyway, thank you guys so much. It is always a pleasure to be here every Monday, and I hope I will see you again next week. Have a good day.